So this is the fully 3D printed faucet diverter. The calcium in my water built up on my factory faucet shower diverter and started leaking a lot. I wasn't able to clean it enough to stop the leaking, so instead I decided to design a replacement. So all this does, you need to salvage the actual seal out of the end of your factory version, print the parts, and then when you print this piece, it's important to have a good surface in here. You can see this one, if it'll focus, there's a layer line issue right here. I didn't get a full layer right there. And so even if when I put the seal in here, this still leaks a lot, I can go in and fill it. This is ABS, so I can put some acetone filler in there. But I've just been using the previous version instead because I got a nice good seal on this one. It's waterproof. I think there's 4 shells in this. And this just presses in. Just like that. And then threads into the body here. And then this has 4 M3 screws that holds it on. I have a length of pipe here. I'll show you how this goes together. When you're actually installing this, you will need to put some Teflon tape on there just so that there's no chance of a leak. But you want to thread this on far enough so that the face of the pipe is sticking above the face, the inside face of the actual model in there. Because when this comes down, when this seal comes down, you want the seal to actually be touching the pipe itself. So when the water is butting up against there, the water pressure actually goes inside and pushes the other side of the gasket back towards the pipe itself and creates a seal. You don't want to rely on the the surface of the 3D printed model to do your sealing. So just make sure you're threaded on far enough and you shouldn't have any issues. I've had 2 or 3 of these on and off a bunch of times, and as long as I do that, I don't seem to have an issue. This one is a lot longer than the actual, the latest version, because the previous designs that I went through, they were a lot meatier and a lot longer. I didn't really know what I was going to need. It didn't need to be this big. I did some destructive testing just to see. Then I thinned it up a lot, shortened it. I will put this together now. It's pretty easy to install. Let's just start the screws here. You will notice that on this particular one, this hole is kind of rough. I had made this hole undersized. When you put this on the pipe, the actual pipe that's coming out of the wall has a some large flats right here, so you can get a wrench on it. And I didn't design enough clearance to get over the edges of those flats. I've updated it in the latest version of this file, so when you download it and print it, you should have plenty of clearance. And this doesn't need to be torqued down very tight at all. You're just, this isn't a structural part. It's just there to cover up the pipe that's coming out of the wall. These are M3 screws. I believe they're 12 millimeters long, but you definitely can get away with shorter screws. Let's make sure these are tightened up so that we close the gap up here, just so it looks better. And eventually I'm going to paint this too. It'll be a silver metallic color, kind of like the original. And this is actually the color that it's going to be when I'm done with it. It's a hammered metal spray paint. So okay, and that's basically it. And then you just thread in so you can see I have a lot of material sticking out here. When you print the newest version of this part, it'll be a lot shorter. You'll just have a bit of clearance right there. But again, this one is, I didn't get a good layer seal right here, so this is a leaky part. I'll have to go back in and fill that, or just reprint the part, but I don't really like wasting the plastic when I can just fix that. So next I'll go and install it in the shower. Be right back. So I'm just going to thread this on. I'm not going to put any of the thread tape on there. And I'm just reaching inside underneath to make sure, just to make sure that the pipe is protruding far enough that I'll get a good seal on the face when it goes in. Put that in. And then you'll be able to see. And I close the valve. Helps if I have it switched over. There we go. Another problem solved with 3D printing.